Ted Bundy was charming, educated, and handsome, the kind of man people genuinely liked. John Wayne Gacy threw neighborhood parties, volunteered as a clown for sick children, and was photographed with the First Lady. Dennis Rader was a church president, a Cub Scout leader, and a compliance officer for his city. We expect monsters to look like monsters, but every person on this list looked exactly like a neighbor. So what do they actually share? Not their crimes, not their childhoods, but one quiet thing almost nobody talks about. This matters to you because you already use the same mental shortcut that makes all of this possible. Every single day. Over 70% of serial killer victims knew their attacker, trusted them, or had no reason not to. The real common thread isn't violence, trauma, or even psychology. It's a manipulation of something your brain does automatically to keep you safe. In 1970, FBI agent Robert Ressler began the first systematic study of serial killers, interviewing 36 convicted murderers in their cells. Ressler expected to find a single profile, a clear type of person with a clear set of traits. Instead, he found that almost no two killers were alike. Different backgrounds, different methods, different motivations, but one pattern kept surfacing, quietly, in interview after interview. Every single one of them was extraordinarily skilled at appearing trustworthy. Not just normal social skills, a deliberate, practiced performance of safety. Psychologists call this impression management, the art of controlling how others perceive you. All humans do this to some degree. It's how we navigate social life. But in a small number of people, this skill becomes weaponized, used not to connect but to gain access. Ted Bundy studied law specifically because it gave him authority and a legitimate reason to approach strangers. He would fake injuries, a cast on his arm, a sling, to appear vulnerable and non-threatening. Gacy's victims trusted him, in part, because he was known and vouched for by their own community. Your brain is hardwired to trust people your community already trusts. It's an ancient shortcut. Anthropologists believe this shortcut evolved 200,000 years ago, when trusting a known tribe member meant survival. The problem is that our brains haven't fully updated this system for a world of strangers pretending to be tribe. Researcher Martha Stout found that approximately 1 in 25 Americans has no capacity for remorse, what we clinically call sociopathy. Most of those people never commit violence, but they do share the same extraordinary ability to mimic trustworthiness. Neuroscientist James Fallon discovered, accidentally, that his own brain scan matched the pattern of a serial killer. Fallon was by all accounts a warm, well-liked professor. The scan revealed nothing about his behavior. What Fallon concluded was that brain structure alone doesn't determine behavior. Environment, attachment, and choice also matter enormously. But here's what that research also revealed. The killers who did act on these traits all learned to exploit trust before they ever committed violence. The violence was almost never the first act. It was the last step in a much longer performance. Criminal psychologist Anna Salter spent 30 years interviewing predators and found that charming people was their primary skill, not their secondary one. Her subjects described practicing expressions in mirrors, studying normal people's reactions, and rehearsing conversations. This is the turn that changes everything. What if the thing that makes someone dangerous isn't what they lack, but what they've learned? We've spent decades asking what was broken inside them, and almost no time asking what they became very, very good at. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit eventually concluded that social competence, not antisocial behavior, was the defining feature of the most dangerous killers. The killers who were caught quickly were almost always socially awkward. The ones who evaded detection longest were the ones who blended in best. BTK, Dennis Rader, evaded capture for 31 years. Not because he was brilliant, but because no one believed it could be him. His cover was built not from lies, but from genuine participation. He really did those community roles. This is the core mechanism. The most dangerous people don't avoid your trust systems. They master them. And the frightening implication is that the very systems we built to feel safe, community, authority, reputation, can be the entry point. Psychologist Robert Hare, creator of the psychopathy checklist, found that high-scoring psychopaths were more likely to be found in positions of power, not on the margins. The monster we fear is in the alley. But statistically, the dangerous person is far more likely to be someone you already know and trust. Ressler himself said the hardest part of his interviews wasn't the horror. It was how completely normal they seemed. Bundy himself once said, "I'm the most cold-hearted son of a bitch you'll ever meet, but I look like everyone else." He was right. And that's not just a disturbing fact about him. It's a disturbing fact about us. So what do you do with that? You don't stop trusting people. That would make you isolated, anxious, and wrong most of the time. But you do start asking a different question, not do they seem safe, but what do their actions show over time? The one thing all of them had in common wasn't evil, it was the mastery of appearing to be the opposite of it. So here's the question, and it matters. Would you rather feel safe around someone or actually be safe? And are you willing to admit those aren't always the same thing? If this made you think, drop a comment below and subscribe for more videos like this.